Hello again, everyone. Welcome to OneMindZone Inspirational Conversations. Yes, another episode. And today we're going to travel through the realms of Reiki, sound therapy, and yoga with our great guest from Berlin, Anna Marie Kennedy. So please welcome her warmly. Here we start. Hello, Anna Marie. I'm so happy
Hi,
to have you here.
happy to be here. Very happy.
Yeah, for me, it's also very special this time because it's been a while when I did my last podcast recording.
Yeah.
And I actually thought I should get back to it. And especially recently, I was, in Lithuania visiting my family, and I went with my family to the gong baths, sound healing, some meditations.
Yes.
And right after, I thought I have to have the podcast with someone who is doing this. And you
Yeah.
came up to my mind right away.
Yes. Yeah. Super nice. Totally.
And I know that you also, as explained already in introduction, that you're not only doing the sound healing meditations, therapies, and you're also doing Reiki and yoga teaching.
Yeah. Exactly.
So please, can you tell me a bit about your whole background, your whole journey to this spirituality?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's been a long journey. I mean, I would say it started also, very far back. I studied psychology, so I was already very interested in this like therapy type stuff, and I was already always interested in these more alternative type things. I always thought, okay, like stuff like art therapy is really cool, and like I don't know, this kind of thing. And I was always interested in like philosophy and like things like this. So I guess I'd also heard about Reiki when I was very young. I remember it really stayed in my mind. I remember hearing of it and being like, hey, that sounds like crazy. What is that? But it was just kind of there in the back of my head somewhere. And then around 2017, I think I was just here in Berlin. And I think at this time I was myself like kind of having a bit of like anxiety, and I was really searching for something for myself. And it kind of just came to me like, oh, Reiki, I remember hearing about this, like I'm going to look into it. And I was just searching, and I found somebody who was offering Reiki sessions. I had a session, and it just really resonated with me. And I decided to do the level 1 and the level 2. So this was back in 2017. So this was kind of the start of this kind of practicing things myself. With yoga, I'd also been practicing yoga for, I don't know, since like way over 10 years right now, but I just did my teacher training last year. And also it was kind of at this point doing something mostly for myself, just to kind of, see, how it goes for me. I mean, also at this point last year, I was really also again kind of struggling with some like, like headaches and things. And I really wanted to take this time to, kind of mainly do it for myself. And in the end, I really enjoyed this teaching practice. And when I came back to Berlin, I just decided to go for it and just start teaching and see how it goes. And then with the sound, I would say also that music and sound has always been like a very big part of my life since like forever. In different settings, like different types of music. And then a couple of years ago, also, I kind of, got into this sound healing type thing with Tibetan bowls, with the gongs. I did that's the gong training, I guess about a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in India, I did more sound healing training with the singing bowls. And so kind of now when I look back, it's all been kind of starting way back and all kind of coming together.
Beautiful. And actually, how to be honest, I still never tried the Reiki therapy. I kind of know how it is, and I mean,
Yeah.
when I work with maybe clients about with the energy, maybe I work more based on the levels of the trauma and stuff, but I never even tried myself.
Okay.
How do you think? How does do all of these practices like Reiki, yoga, and sound healing? How do they complement each other? And
Yeah.
in your personal experience, obviously.
Yeah. So I think they definitely really complement each other really well, because and basically they're all energetic practices. You know, when we're working with Reiki, it's working with channeling energy, sending energy, sending energy to the different channels in the body, to the chakras, balancing, kind of promoting flow. With sound, it's the same, you know, the vibrations there, an energetic vibration. And for example, if you're doing a Reiki session and you have, for example, the singing bowls, my singing bowls, they are a chakra set. So each bowl has a different note. It's kind of made up to work with a certain chakra. So you could really combine this if you're working maybe on a certain, like the heart chakra or whichever one, then you could use the bowl also for the heart chakra and really bring this into the session. Maybe really using this bowl a lot, maybe placing it directly on the body. So this really complements each other like very, very well. I think also when they're used together, they can also bring this like another level of just also purely relaxation, you know, physical relaxation, relaxation of the mind. And this also really promotes the healing, you know, when the body is like really allowed to kind of wind down, when you get away from this stressed state, you know, and the body can go into this like parasympathetic mode, you know, like the opposite of the fight and flight, you know, when you can get into this rest and digest state, then that's when also the body can really heal, you know, this like self-healing thing is really activated. And I think when you use Reiki and the sound together, this state also comes just more easily and maybe more deeper.
It's interesting. Actually, lately I'm also very bit digging deeper in all of the ways charging and discharging yourself. And it's also was mentioned a lot Reiki actually there in the whole of the material. It's also when you mentioned about the singing bowls, Tibetan bowls, meditative bowls. This is what I also wanted to ask, that you also using tools, obviously.
Yes.
And
exactly.
also I guess like stones as well, right? Some little stones are very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. In the one-on-one sessions, I use like some crystals or stones relating to the chakras. And then the bowls are the tools. Also, I mean, I haven't done Reiki with gong, but because the gong is also quite intense. But something that I feel like these instruments work in different ways, and I feel the gong can also be relaxing, for example, but it can also be more challenging, and it can maybe bring up some stuff. Which can be good, you know, if things need to kind of come up, if they want to be resolved or healed. So this is another thing.
It's interesting, exactly, when you mentioned now about the gong, and when I was in this gong session, this bathing, and for me, and maybe also because I also come more from the music scene, and I like all kinds of sounds, and I'm open for entering sounds. I think I enjoyed the gong the most, because that low timbre that is like really went through the whole body. I liked it so much, and for me it was like really, I saw just like positive things. But what was interesting that the members of my family, like few of them, they were saying, oh, I've seen the war, I saw like sadness in the war and the thing. I was like, wow, how interesting, because we all have different perspectives of that completely.
Yes, absolutely. And this happens like a lot with especially gong sessions. I think, yeah, it can depend in kind of on how you're going into the session, you know, like how you're feeling that day or just in life generally. Or yeah, so I kind of, before gong sessions, always give a bit of a disclaimer, like, because I think, you know, it's often like called gong bath and it sounds very nice, like, oh, I'm gonna bathe in the healing sounds, and then, you know, it comes up, people are like, oh, like I felt very scared, or so all this stuff is completely, it can really happen. And yeah, I think it's good to be aware of this as well. It's kind of in the power of these sounds.
Now let's go a bit deeper in more Reiki and with exactly more sound healing, and let's maybe explain to people how do Reiki and sound healing work to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. Maybe we can go deeper into that.
Yeah, definitely. So I think on the physical level, so it's like with the sound, you know, the sound is vibrating. So it really directly affects the cells in our body, especially, you know, our body's made up of so much water, and water is a really good conductor of sound. So it's really literally vibrating in our bodies, which is said to then kind of bring this harmony back to the cells in our body. I think there's even some like kind of experiments I saw with the gong and like with the blood in the body, like how it's kind of like really like, you know, kind of arranging itself in this much more healthy kind of pattern. And with Reiki, you know, often you're working on the aura, but often I also physically touch people, and touch alone is very healing. You know, it's kind of also proven to just be very good for our immune system, to really just be beneficial for us. And as I said before, kind of getting into this really parasympathetic mode where we can, this is really relaxing the stress response. And, you know, nowadays everybody is so stressed, like chronically stressed, that this alone is just already so beneficial for us all. So that's kind of very practically on this physical level. On the emotional level, so I think there's also this chance to really come into contact with yourself through these sessions. You can like get the chance to feel into your emotions, maybe work through some things, maybe emotions come up, and then it's, you know, also about feeling these emotions. Emotions are also like an energetic thing, like energy in motion. And again, I think so many of us today are really kind of disconnected from our bodies and don't really know how to feel our emotions. We're like very much in our head. So practicing these things, practicing to be in the body, practicing to feel the emotions, super beneficial. And then also on this kind of energetic level, I don't know, like this is kind of crosses through them all, you know, with the different chakras and the different topics relating to each energy center, kind of going a bit deeper into these things. Maybe something comes up, and then it can be a question, you know, for yourself, like, oh, okay, like how is my relationship to safety or creativity or my confidence, or all these topics, you know, they're really quite present in these practices, especially Reiki, you know, if you have a one-on-one session. And so I think coming into contact with those is really, really positive. And then the spiritual level, I think, you know, when we connect to these practices which remind us of, yeah, something more than just our everyday lives, you know, our everyday worries and doing this and that, and, you know, I need to go to work and I need to do this. If when we take the time out to connect to these practices which have, you know, long histories and make us feel connected to something bigger, it's, yeah, I mean, for me personally, super helpful. It's helped in, yeah, a lot of times over my life. And yeah, I mean, it's same with like yoga. You know, yoga is about the union, the mind, the body, the spirit, and I think it's similar for all of these practices.
Do you have, or can you share any of the examples from your personal experience with the clients of those transformations that you could really see that there is happening a transformation?
I think it does happen often, you know, that somebody has a session and then, yeah, maybe like a decision can be made more easily, or like it's kind of, or the strength then comes to make a step or make a change. I think that happens quite often. But on the other hand, I think often also people do want like fast results from things. And I think one thing with these practices too, it's, for me, I think a lot about kind of making this commitment to small things that over time then bring about these kind of longer term changes. You know, if you kind of keep coming back to yourself, if you keep taking the time to do these things, then that's when the longer term transformations are coming in. Yeah, in my opinion, and or also just like for myself, I think that's, yeah. But I mean, not to say, I mean, it does also happen that, you know, you have one session and then something big happens.
Yeah, because I also think sometimes there is, if more, maybe you more practice, more experience, you have more time it even takes, because it's already like, I don't know, if I remember even just myself when I just started meditating years ago.
Yeah.
The one of the first meditation sessions of the 40 minutes for me was so much transformative that, I mean, now after many years, I don't get even the same effect anymore, you know. It's not like the first time that I did it.
Yeah.
So it's also, I guess, for the people who is maybe just trying for the first time, it can really kick strongly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, it's also like if, you know, sometimes you just haven't even lay down, like maybe the first time you lie down on the ground to do yoga, just this practice of lying down on the ground is like, wow. And like, yeah, it can definitely, I think that's true.
Also, I have a question because as we spoke before, that all of these practices actually really related with each other and you can incorporate them. So in what ways can yoga practitioners incorporate all of the energy work into their practice?
Yeah. So I mean, also, you know, yoga, like especially hatha yoga itself, is an energetic practice as well. So that's another way that it's related. So you know, in hatha yoga, it's also about balancing the left and the right and all the energy channels, the nadis, in order to activate this one main energy channel. So I think just practicing hatha yoga anyway is is an energetic practice. And I think what is nice, I mean, it's quite, you know, you see a lot now kind of yoga and gong, or yoga and sound healing. And I think it's really nice that this is happening more, because it brings again a bit the focus back to the fact that yoga is also this kind of energetic thing, and if we neglect these other sides of it, you know, it's just becoming kind of physical practice. So I think that's why it's super nice to, yeah, you know, have a gong bath at the end of the session, or spend some extra time in meditation, feeling the energies, this kind of thing. I think it's, yeah, really nice to have in the yoga classes, because they kind of belong there anyway.
Now, when you mentioned yoga and sound healing in cooperation together, actually, is there maybe some specific asanas that would work the best with the sound healing?
I think, I mean, I'm not super sure about this one, but I think that what seems to work well is, like, you know, yin classes with the sound, because I think yeah,
slow motion,
the slow, and yeah, it can, you know, the sound can also help the body to relax a bit more into the postures. So I think all this also, like, restorative, I think this works well together. I mean, otherwise, like, in my classes, I just do the sound healing usually during Shavasana.
Of course, yeah.
So for this, yeah, for this deep relaxation.
I just still wanted to go back a bit backwards. I remember when you said that you're also, the whole Reiki part is about also touching people. Yes. This means that also before any practice, you have to charge yourself a lot, because I guess it's also happening, exchanging of the energies as well, because you touch, you give, and you also get something out of it, right?
Yes, so in Reiki, you're really practicing to channel so you shouldn't ideally be giving your own energy, but you're really channeling this energy from above. Yes.
So you're just medium.
Exactly. So in Reiki, you're the medium. I mean, I think it's generally with energy work, it's not obviously always that easy, and yeah, exchange will happen probably. So yeah, I definitely am, you know, kind of like, my intention is to channel the energy, the Reiki, and not give my energy. Yeah, that's something you have to really practice. And yeah, then you can always kind of like shake off the energies you pick up, and at the end, definitely always kind of practice to let go of anything as well. So I think with all energy work, it's definitely, that's part of the whole kind of routine.
Okay, and for example, now more in a practical way, how can someone just incorporate all of this, a bit of these practices in their daily routines, even if that would be just like small morning routines?
Yeah, I think you definitely kind of said it already in the question. I think, like, it's really good to start small, and like kind of things that you can commit to. As with starting any kind of routine, you know, it's like, I like, for example, when I did my first Reiki training, then for 30 days you have to give yourself a full Reiki healing every day. And this is like very challenging. You know, it was really, I mean, that's, I guess, part of the process, but it's hard to commit to this hour every day to give yourself the healing. So I think for really kind of implementing a new thing into your routine, you can add it on to, maybe if you have already a routine of doing some stretching or yoga every morning, to maybe add something on. I mean, with Reiki, it's you kind of have to do an initiation if you want to really practice Reiki on yourself. It's like you do the initiation and then you can practice.
But I guess, you know, as a beginner, you cannot do this on your own, right?
Exactly. So you always have an initiation for the beginning of Reiki, and then after that you can always do it. But I think, I mean, it's a type of energy work, and I think with energy work, if it's not Reiki, you can still also maybe connect into your own energy, just kind of scanning the body, seeing what you can feel, also in very subtle ways. So maybe not just like physical pain or something, but any sensations, you know, like tingling or kind of swirling of energy. It's a nice practice to, if you can kind of, it's like an energy ball practice. Have you ever done it, where you kind of feel the energy between your hands? I think this is super nice. You know, and it's not just for Reiki, but you know, you can kind of close down the eyes and then face the palms together as if there's a ball, and you can kind of like start to pulsate the ball, feeling like the ball of energy. And I mean, I think this is really amazing to feel. I can like feel it. Exactly. And then this is a really nice way to start to feel energy, I think. And you can imagine it as like a healing energy, and then like place it somewhere on your body. And I think this is a super nice meditation to start to practice feeling energy.
And is it the best to do it in the morning, in the evening? When do you think? Which part of the day?
Yeah, I think that's, I guess, different for each person. I like to do personally my own personal practice in the morning. But I think as it just, you know, it's a nice start to my day. You know, you can kind of see how you're feeling, maybe set an intention. But I think if you're going to a session or something, it's nice to have it at night, because then you're just so relaxed after. So I think, but then you have to, I mean, I just did like I do a group session, which is Reiki and sound healing. It's a small group so that everyone can get a bit of Reiki and a sound healing session. But then, you know, the hard bit is getting home afterwards, because you're so relaxed after the session.
Totally. And you just mentioned all of the small, nice exercises. Could you share a quick simple now technique, either from one of the practices that we could try, all of us now, like very shortly, something?
Yeah. I mean, maybe we can do the energy ball meditation. So so you could start by closing down the eyes and just taking a couple of breaths. Breathing deep into the belly. And then first flipping the palms so they're facing up. So in this kind of receptive way. And then gently bring the palms facing towards each other, as if you're holding a ball. And then just starting to feel any sensations in the hands. And maybe pulsing the hands together. And just seeing if you can feel the energy between the hands. Maybe moving the hands around as if you're turning the ball. And then you can imagine this energy ball as a healing ball of energy. Maybe it's the color. And then you can place the ball or your hands somewhere on your body that needs some extra healing. And feel the energy flowing from the hands into the body. And then just coming back, maybe take a couple of deep breaths. And then you can blink the eyes open when you're ready. Yeah, I really like this.
Beautiful.
I find it, yeah, I love this meditation. And I love like feeling the energy is, yeah. I think that's when when I first started feeling this energy between the hands, I was like, wow, this is just amazing.
I used to do some long time ago, also like just holding the hands and then, holding together and then opening and feeling also how it's moving. It's kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
Oh, super nice. And what advice would you give to someone who is interested in exploring these practices, but might never tried or don't know anything, or might be unsure where to start, where to go?
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends, like kind of where you are, because like in Berlin it's quite accessible now, especially to go to like a group sound healing, a group gong session, or a yoga class with sound healing. So in a big city I think it's quite accessible. If not, then I guess maybe just kind of like looking up some sound meditations online, for example. And with Reiki, I think with Reiki, you generally have to then go to somebody who is a practitioner. And usually it would be going to a one-on-one session. But like, for example, I did, because, one-on-one sessions, they're kind of expensive. And even if you want to make them accessible, it's still, they can be quite an investment for people.
Okay.
So I started doing these like smaller group sessions so that people can get to at least experience to receive a little bit of the Reiki energy, if not a full session, just kind of in this kind of, small group session with the sound. Or I did also some yoga classes. So I thought that was a nice way to get people to be able to experience it. But generally just looking around for a practitioner who kind of speaks to you in some way, who you resonate with. I think that's important when you're doing this kind of energy practice, that you work with someone who feels right for you.
I also saw that you also do the sessions in the park.
Yeah, exactly. The park season is coming to an end now, but this was so nice to then also be out in nature.
I guess you can see the difference right away, no?
Also back a few years ago when I was practicing or starting to practice Reiki, I did some sessions with a friend out in the park as well, and it's always really nice to be in nature, because then you have this extra element of healing from nature as well. So this is super nice. I really enjoyed that.
So for those who lives in Berlin, and for those who is interested to have any practices with you, where can they find you? Tell everything.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely you could check my Instagram, because there I'm posting like my updates of where I do things, because I do.
I'll put everything in a description.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I do stuff around at different studios. My park sessions are over now, but I have regular classes at Green Yoga, where I'm doing Hatha and Gong, and then I have my Reiki and sound sessions at a place called Joy Space in Midtown. And then, for private sessions, just contact me to make an appointment. So.
And I guess it's everything you just do face to face. There is no any online possibilities.
I mean, normally I do. I mean, with the sound, it's really got to be in.
Exactly.
I think, with the sound, it has to be in person. Distance Reiki is possible. It is. It is. I don't do it so much, but it's definitely it's possible to do distance Reiki.
Okay.
So I've only done it a few times, but it's definitely it also works, which is also crazy.
And also we are going closer to the end, and I always ask the people some few questions like, what is your personal morning daily routine?
Yes, so I really love to. I have now I have the luxury of having quite a slow morning routine. So I really take my time with having my breakfast, and I really like this. It's not always like that, obviously, but at the moment I have this luxury.
Super nice.
And then I always like to take my yoga mat out, and I really just like to feel into what I need that morning. Sometimes I'll always move my body a little bit, but sometimes I literally just lie down on my yoga mat, and maybe I'll take my bowls out and play some. Maybe I'll literally just lie there and do nothing, but it's really still very important part of the day. And I think giving myself that chance to feel in what feels right now, that's really, and I think that's really, I also, when I had less time, I would always take my mat out at least 4, 5, 10 minutes just to have this small amount of time for myself for my day, and became a really important part of my routine.
I think it's also more and more I also feel like at least just do like all of the small joints warm up, like activate everything, activate the energy, let the start of it flowing. I mean, even if you don't have time to do the full class with yourself, just at least move a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Or just at least, like for me, just at least some deep breaths or anything, just anything to come, be more mindful, come back to myself before rushing out, and like not like being kind of I think it's really easy to just be in your mind all the time. And
and it's also, especially now, it's so important in all of this fast-paced society, when people just like the first thing they do in the morning, they wake up and they grab their phone.
Yes.
And it's like,
oh my
gosh, don't do
it. Yeah, exactly.
And then the whole wave of everything just takes you over. It's like, no, take your time a bit, just a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I set a bedtime mode on my phone so that when I the first time I look at my phone, even just for the time, I don't see any messages or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's, I mean, it's crazy that this is like such a big thing, but I also have to I have to work on it even more, because it's so easy just to constantly be be with that.
Super. Totally. Yeah.
No.
And do you have any book to recommend that maybe recently it passed your eyes or somehow touched you or influenced you?
What books? I'm just going to grab it here because it's within reach. It's really good. It's this Rick Rubin book. I mean, he's like a famous music producer. So it's called The Creative Act, The Way of Being. It's this one. And it's, he's a music producer, but it reads like a kind of yoga philosophy book. Yeah, so it's like all about so it's like it's all about, how we're all creative beings, and like everybody, not just like making art, but it's like our whole life is a creative act. And it's a lot about like awareness and kind of just everything. Like, it's really, really recommend it. I feel like I could just open any page and it has, just it's full of wisdom. So this is definitely the latest thing that I am reading, and really, I'm convinced, very inspiring. So and it was just here as well, like next to me.
I will get myself as well, and then also we'll put the link to the people in case they wanna find it.
Yeah, I've like used it also to read at the beginning of some of my yoga classes, as like kind of inspiration.
Super nice. Oh, Anne-Marie, thank you. I think we're going to the end. And wow, the time ran so fast that I don't know, like everything just it feels that we just started.
Yeah, totally right.
Was super nice. Thank you so much for sharing all of the experience, for explaining us more about Reiki and sound healing, and how does it go, how does it benefit us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been fun.
It's been fun. Yeah. And for everyone who wants to try any sessions, who live in Berlin, of course, I will leave all of the details in the description, to Anne-Marie's profiles, social media profiles. And do you have a website, or people can just contact you on the Instagram?
Or the social exactly. I don't have one at the moment. I should maybe do that, but Instagrams, I think everyone's just using Instagram.
Exactly. I have the same feeling. One more time, I think we have just to say that this all of practices is just complementing each other. Doesn't matter what we're going to start practicing first or the last. Either this is sound healing, either this is yoga, Reiki. Somewhere it has to start sooner or later, and from there I think everything opens up. And there's not only that, there's also so many other things around these topics, and exactly. I guess it's just a personal experience, personal discoveries, and first it has to start from the wish, and for self-care, for your mental well-being.
Exactly.
For the peace in life.
Exactly. I think it's really just finding the things that work for you, that make you feel more of the things you want to feel, and following them. Exactly.
And so with this note, we will finish today's podcast. Thank you one more time, Anne-Marie.
Thank you too.